Hey, happy Friday, YouTube family. So I'm giving my daily update. So today I'm going to be covering the whole Fani Willis, Nathan Wade case that's going on. So everyone knows, it's they're trying to determine if you know Nathan Wade got this, you know, position as the lead of this case against Trump after, you know, their so-called relationship. One, I'm not sure if you look at state of Georgia, it's actually a misdemeanor, I believe it is, or for a just to have a for adultery, period, which is like $1,000 fine and then like even jail time. I didn't even know that. But I'm not from Georgia. I live in Texas and I'm not married, so I don't have that issue. So they were saying, Franny Willis was like, no, he never was at my place where I was at, and there's a whole bunch of nonsense. But one thing that you cannot dodge is this little device right here. It would get you every single time. And I'm gonna let you know how it gets you. Because I could tell you, I was in the military. I just retired not too long ago. But I'll tell you, as someone who did cyber and electronic warfare, this can get you. I'm not gonna tell you some things I can't tell you, but I'm gonna let you know what it is what your cell phone tells on you and how easy it is for people for it to be subpoenaed to get the information from your service provider. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in this video that's the latest and greatest of what they discovered basically from their cell phones.
An explosive court filing in Atlanta today, now raising new questions about Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and the relationship that she had with the special prosecutor that she hired to oversee the election interference case against former President Donald Trump. Cell phone data obtained by Trump's legal team shows Nathan Wade, that special prosecutor, visited Willis's neighborhood at least 35 times in the 11 months before Willis hired him in late 2021. Twice, Wade arrived late at night and left early the following morning. The data shows about 2,000 calls and 12,000 text messages between Wade and Willis from January to November 2021. Why this matters, the timeline is everything in this case. Joining me now on the phone is former Assistant District Attorney of Fulton County, Daryl Cohen. Daryl, thanks for joining us. We sat and watched as this hearing originally started. What do you make of these new revelations?
This is damning. At the very best, it's troubling. It seems to completely contradict the testimony of both Fani Willis and of Nathan Wade. And because of that, this could be a complete game changer in terms of how Judge McAfee decides to rule.
The timeline here, the timeline is extremely important. Get viewers up to speed about why this timeline matters.
Well, it matters because the testimony has been that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade became friends. They met at a conference, and he was hired before any of this took place, and that they did not have any type of relationship other than completely a business relationship. Now, if these texts and if these pings on the telephone are accurate, that changes the entire ball game and means that there could be some untruth that's been told under oath. In other words, it could be perjury, and I hope it isn't,
And so,
because this is very sad.
yeah, I mean, at the heart of the matter, really, then, in this case right now, this has nothing to do with the actual case against Donald Trump and the other co-defendants in the election interference case. This is all to do with if Fani Willis, the district attorney, benefited financially from hiring who we know now ended up being her boyfriend. So that's why the timeline of this is so important. If it happened before, then there's a problem. If it happened after, it might be a problem as far as optics are concerned, but not necessarily something that would get the office kicked off this case. Now, let's just say the Fani Willis's entire office gets removed from this case. What happens next?
Then it goes to the prosecutor's counsel, and they locate a district attorney's office who is capable and willing of prosecuting the case. That could be near impossible. Clayton County District Attorney has already said she cannot handle it. That leaves DeKalb County, Cobb County, and that's about it, because it has to be a large office that has the ability and the people to prosecute it, and the budget, because the budget's going to just explode with this type of case.
So you're saying it could get thrown out altogether?
I'm not saying that, but it could. I, this is predictably unpredictable.
Right.
None of this had been predicted, but it's taking on a case. It's a case that's taking on its own course, and we have no idea why it did what it did, but it's taking on a life of its own. So as each revelation unfolds, it becomes more and more troubling.
Did Fani Willis, didn't she know that they would be able to get these records?
You know something? I think some of us, when affairs of the heart get in the way of affairs of the mind, we don't believe that we're visible. We think we're invisible and invincible. And I like Fani very much, but I am so disappointed in what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. And we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But every day is a new revelation, some good, some bad, depending on which side you're looking at. But it doesn't change the facts in the Trump case. It does change who may or may not prosecute it, whether it will or will not be prosecuted, whether or not it will delay the prosecution. If Fani is no longer on the case, if her office is no longer allowed to prosecute the case, then it will delay things immeasurably.
Daryl Cohen, thanks so much for joining us. Your insight is invaluable, and we'll keep watching this for sure. And we are now awaiting President Biden to.
So you heard what they say, as far as the issue with the cell phone. So just to let you know, if you look in your phone, you know, every phone has what is called is an IMEI, which is an International Mobile Equipment Identity. It's nothing but just say it's a VIN number. Just like your car has a VIN number, your cell phone has a VIN number, and that's actually. And if you open up your phone, that number is in here. That number is then given to your service provider, and they can say, "Hey, from this time frame to this time frame, where was this cell phone located?" And as you're driving, your cell phone is constantly pinging to your service provider tower. But they also share towers with other cell phone companies, which means you're still getting tracked. You could put this thing in airplane mode. Guess what? Put your phone in airplane mode. They're still tracking you, and that's because you have GPS, which is constantly updating. Your cell phone keeps the state, will keep everything low as far as your time and all that stuff. It's still pinging. Only way you can get around that is powering it down. But then what you go wrong is you like, hey, I'll shut my phone off here. I can go to where I'm going and turn it on. Yeah, it may not show where, you know, the route that you took and showing basically, hey, it hit this tower, it hit this tower. Instead, what it's doing is it's going to say you started here, but you ended up here. So now you went from point A to point B, and point B is where you're pinging at. So they can say this phone was at this location for this amount of time for this amount of days. So every time old Nathan went over to Miss Willis, put her heels up in the air, whatever they had going on, guess what? Them towers was telling on them. So that's what they say it was. The information is contradicting what based off of cell phone data. It's because they went to the service provider. Same thing when it comes down to your text messages. You think because you delete your text messages off of your phone, they're not there. Your service provider can, and that's going to depend on the level of type of case it is. So if it was like a deletion type case, one of those things where you notice how they be it and say, hey, they sent them this message on this day. It's because they got a court order from a lawyer, from a prosecutor saying you have to provide us text messages from this person to this person or from this day to this date. And they actually will go through that information, print it out, and then give it to them. And this is, only reason now you have to do all that. Even you as, even though you're paying the bill, you can't do that. And I think it was like 2006, somewhere around there is when they passed a law about that. Prior to, you can do it. That's how spouses was able to get cell phone text messages, when their spouse was cheating and they was using that to prove, as far as adultery and things like that. So, before you think about doing anything, uh, either you might want to have another cell phone, have you a burner. I don't know, use Cricket, whatever. But this little handy damn device that everybody so much love, technology will get you in trouble. And if you got OnStar and it's activated, even if it's not activated, guess what? They still can get you because your car is telling you. So unless you got something, you got a car with a carburetor before this electronic stuff came out, that's the whole thing where you're going to get around it. So, like, share, subscribe, make comments down down in the comments blocks. Tell me what you think. Do you think, that she should be disbarred? He should be disbarred? Should they just be removed from the case and then some new attorneys be appointed? Same the judge. He gave a $150 donation when she was running, and he didn't disclose that. So that's another thing. That may be a reason why he's been a little bit lenient on how she's been able to conduct herself on the stand. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. And until then, see you around.